नमः पार्वती पतये हर 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 महादेव। नमोऽस्त्वनन्ताय सहस्रमूर्तये सहस्रपादा शिशिरोरुभावे सहस्रनाम्ने पुरुषाय शाश्वते सहस्रकोटि युगधारिणे नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय गुरवे सच्चिदानन्दमूर्तये निष्प्रपञ्चाय शान्ताय निरालम्बाय तेजसे नित्यानन्दाय गुरवे शिष्यसंसारहारिणे भक्तकार्येकदेहाय नमस्ते चित्सदात्मने। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। ॐ नमो गुरुभ्यो गुरुपादुकाभ्यो नमः परेभ्यः परपादुकाभ्यः आचार्यसिद्धेश्वरपादुकाभ्यो नमो नमः श्री गुरुपादुकाभ्यः। अहङ्काररहस्ययुक्ता श्रीङ्कार तमः विभूत्या ओङ्कारमर्मा प्रतिपादिनीभ्यां नमो नमः श्री गुरुपादुकाभ्यां। होत्राग्निहोत्राग्नियवेशहोत्रे होमादिसर्वा कृतिभासमानं यद्ब्रह्म तद्बोधवितारिणीभ्यां नमो नमः श्री गुरुपादुकाभ्यां। कामादिसर्प व्रजगारुणाभ्यां विवेकवैराग्यनिधिप्रदाभ्यां बोधप्रदाभ्यां धृतमोक्षदाभ्यां नमो नमः श्री गुरुपादुकाभ्याम्। अनन्तसंसारसमुद्रतारा नौकायिताभ्यां स्थिरभक्तिदाभ्यां जाड्याब्धिसंशोषणवाडवाभ्यां नमो नमः श्री गुरुपादुकाभ्याम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ अस्य श्री गुरुगीतास्तोत्रमन्त्रस्य भगवान् सदाशिवऋषि नानाविधानि छन्दांसि श्रीगुरो परमात्मा देवता। हम बीजं सह शक्ति क्रों कीलकं श्रीगुरो प्रसाद सिद्ध्यर्थे जपे विनियोगः। अथ ध्यानम्। हंसाभ्यां परिवृत्तपत्रकमले दिव्ये जगत्कारणे विश्वोत्कीर्णमनेकदेहनिलये स्वच्छन्दमात्मेच्छया तद्योदम्बदशाम्भवं तु चरणं दीपाङ्कुरग्राहिणं प्रत्यक्षाक्षरविग्रहं गुरुपदं ध्यायेद्विभुं शाश्वतम्। सूत उवाच कैलासशिखरे रम्ये भक्तिसन्धाननायकं प्रणम्य पार्वती भक्त्या शङ्करं परिपृच्छति। श्रीदेव्युवाच ॐ नमो देवदेवेश परात्पर जगद्गुरो सदाशिव महादेव गुरुदीक्षां प्रदेहि मे। केन मार्गेण भो स्वामिन् देहि ब्रह्ममयो भवेत् त्वं कृपां कुरु मे स्वामिन् नमामि चरणौ तव। ईश्वर उवाच मम रूपासि देवे त्वं त्वत्प्रीत्यर्थं वदाम्यहं गुरुं विना न केनापि कृतः पुरा दुर्लभं त्रिषु लोकेषु तच्छृणुष्व वदाम्यहं गुरुं विना ब्रह्मणान्यत् सत्यं सत्यं वरानने। वेदशास्त्रपुराणानि इतिहासादिकानि च मन्त्रयन्त्रादिविद्याश्च स्मृतिरुच्चाटनादिकम् शैवशाक्तगमादीनि अन्यानि विविधानि च अपभ्रंशकराणि जीवानां भ्रान्तचेतसाम्। यज्ञं व्रतं तपोदानं जपं तीर्थं तथैव च गुरुतत्त्वमविज्ञाय मूढस्तो चरते जना। गुरुर्बुद्ध्यात्मनो नान्यत् सत्यं सत्यं न संशयः तल्लाभार्थं प्रयत्नस्तु कर्तव्यो हि मनीषिभिः। गूढविद्या जगन्माया देहे चाज्ञानसम्भवा उदयो यत्प्रकाशेन गुरुशब्देन कथ्यते। सर्वपापविशुद्धात्मा श्रीगुरोपादसेवनात् देहि ब्रह्म भवेद्यस्मात् त्वत्कृपार्थं वदामि ते। गुरुपादाम्बुजं स्मृत्वा जलं शिरसि धारयेत् सर्वतीर्थावगाहस्य सम्प्राप्नोति फलं नरः। शोषणं पापपङ्कस्य दीपनं ज्ञानतेजसां गुरोपादोदकं सम्यक् संसारार्णवतारकम्। अज्ञानमूलहरणं जन्मकर्मनिवारणं ज्ञानवैराग्यसिद्ध्यर्थं गुरुपादोदकं पिबेत्। गुरोः पादोदकं पीत्वा गुरोरुच्चिष्टभोजनं गुरुमूर्ते सदा ध्यानं गुरुमन्त्रं सदा जपेत्। काशीक्षेत्रं तन्निवासो जाह्नवीचरणोदकं गुरुर्विश्वेश्वर साक्षात् तारकं ब्रह्म निश्चितम्। गुरोपादोदकं यत्तु गयासौ सोक्षयो वटः तीर्थराजः प्रयागश्च गुरुमूर्त्यै नमो नमः। गुरुमूर्तिं स्मरे नित्यं गुरुनाम सदा जपेत्। गुरोराज्ञां प्रकुर्वीत गुरोरन्यन्यभावयेत्। गुरोवक्त्रस्थितं ब्रह्मा प्राप्यते तत्प्रसादतः। गुरुर्ध्यानं सदा कुर्यात् कुलस्त्री स्वपतिर्यथा। स्वाश्रमं च स्वजातिं च स्वकीर्तिपुष्टिवर्धनम् एतत् सर्वं परित्यज्य गुरोरन्यन्यभावये। अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो मां सुलभं परमं पदम् तस्मात् सर्वप्रयत्नेन गुरोराराधनं कुरु। त्रैलोक्ये स्फुटवक्तारो देवाद्यासुरपन्नगाः गुरोभक्त्रस्थिता विद्या गुरोभक्त्या तु लभ्यते। गुकारस्त्वन्धकारश्च ऋकारस्तेज उच्यते अज्ञानग्रासकं ब्रह्म गुरुरेव न संशयः। गुकारः प्रथमो वर्णो मायादिगुणभासकः ऋकारो द्वितीयो ब्रह्म मायाभ्रान्तिविनाशनम्। एवं गुरुपदं श्रेष्ठं देवानामपि दुर्लभम् हा हा हूः गणश्चैव गन्धर्वैश्च प्रपूज्यते। ध्रुवं तेषां च सर्वेषां नास्ति तत्त्वं गुरुपदम् आसनं शयनं वस्त्रं भूषणं वानादिकम्। साधकेन प्रदातव्यं गुरुसन्तोषकारकं गुरोराराधनं कार्यं स्वजीवित्वं निवेदये। कर्मणा मनसा वाचा नित्यमाराधयेत् गुरुं दीर्घदण्डं नमस्कृत्य निर्लज्जो गुरुसन्निधौ। शरीरम् इन्द्रियं प्राणान् सद्गुरुभ्यो निवेदयेत् आत्मदारादिकं सर्वं सद्गुरुभ्यो निवेदयेत्। कृमिकीटभस्मविष्ठा दुर्गन्धिमलमूत्रकं श्लेष्मरक्तं त्वचं मांसं वञ्चयेन्नावरानने। संसारवृक्षमारूढाः पतन्तो नरकार्णवे येन चैवोद्धृता सर्वे तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुर्गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्देव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। हेतवे जगतामेव संसारार्णवसेतवे प्रभवे सर्वविद्यानां शम्भवे गुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। त्वं पिता त्वं च मे माता त्वं बन्धुस्त्वं च देवता संसारप्रतिबोधार्थं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। यत्सत्येन जगत्सत्यं यत्प्रकाशेन भाति तत् यदानन्देन नन्दन्ति तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। यस्य स्थित्या सत्यमिदं यद्भाति भानुरूपतः प्रियं पुत्रादि यत्प्रीत्य तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। येन चेतायते हीदं चित्तं चेतायतेनयं जाग्रत्स्वप्नसुषुप्त्यादि तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। यस्य ज्ञानादिदं विश्वं न दृश्यं भिन्नभेदतः सदेकरूपरूपाय तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। यस्यामतं तस्य मतं मतं यस्या न वेदसः अनन्यभावभावाय तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। यस्य कारणरूपस्य कार्यरूपेण भाति कारणतत्पाय तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नानारूपमिदं सर्वं न केनाप्यस्ति भिन्नता कार्यकारणता चैव तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। यदग्निकमलद्वन्द्वं द्वन्द्वतापनिवारकं कारकं सर्वदापद्भ्या श्रीगुरुं प्रणमाम्यहम्। शिवे क्रुद्धे गुरुस्त्राता गुरुक्रुद्धे शिवो नहि तस्मात् सर्वप्रयत्नेन श्रीगुरुं शरणं व्रजे। वन्दे गुरुपदद्वन्द्वं वाङ्मनश्चित्तगोचरं श्वेतरक्तप्रभाभिन्नं शिवशक्त्यात्मकं परम्। गुकारं च गुणातीतं ऋकारं ते अर्जितं गुणातीतस्वरूपं च यो दद्यात् स गुरुस्मृता। आत्रिनेत्र सर्वसाक्षी आचतुर्बाहुरच्युतः अचतुर्वदनो ब्रह्म श्रीगुरुः कथिता प्रिय। अयं मयाञ्जलिर्बद्धो दयासागरवृद्धये यदनुग्रहतो जन्तुश्चित्रसंसारमुक्तिभा। श्रीगुरो परमं रूपं विवेकचक्षुषोऽमृतं मन्दभाग्यान् पश्यन्ति अन्धा सूर्योदयं यत्। श्रीनाथचरणद्वन्द्वं यस्यां दिशि विराजते तस्यै दिशे नमस्कुर्यात् भक्त्या प्रतिदिनं प्रियम्। तस्यै दिशे सततमञ्जलिरेष आर्ये प्रक्षेप्यते मुखरितौ मधुपैर्बुधैश्च। जागर्ति यत्र भगवान् गुरुचक्रवर्ती विश्वोदया प्रलयना। श्रीनाथादिगुरुत्रयं गणपतिं पीठात्रयं भैरवं सिद्धौघं वटुकत्रयं पदयुगं धूतिक्रमं मण्डलम्। ईरान्द्वष्टचतुष्टशश्रिनवकं वीरावली पञ्चगं श्रीमन्मालिनी मन्त्रराजसहितं वन्दे गुरुर्मण्डलम्। अव्यस्थैरगलये सुदेहमनिलये व्याधिप्रदैर्दुष्करे प्राणायामशतैरनेककरणे दुःखात्मकैर्दुर्जये। यस्मिन्नभ्युदिते विनश्यति बले वायो स्वयं तत्क्षणात् प्राप्तुं दशजं स्वभावमनिशं सेवध्वमेकं गुरुम्। स्वदेशिकस्यैव शरीरचिन्तनं भवेदनन्तस्य शिवस्य चिन्तनं स्वदेशिकस्यैव च नामकीर्तनं भवेदनन्तस्य शिवस्य कीर्तनम्। यत्पादरेणुकणिका काव्य संसारवारिधे सेतुवन्दायते नाथं देशिकं तमुपास्महे यस्मादनुग्रहं लब्ध्वा महदज्ञानमुत्सृजे तस्मै श्रीदेशिकेन्द्राय नमश्चाभीष्टसिद्धये पादाब्जं सर्वसंसार दावानलविनाशकं ब्रह्मरन्ध्रेषिताम्भोज अकथादित्रिरेखाब्जे सहस्रदलमण्डले हंसपार्श्वत्रिकोणे च स्मरे तन्मध्यगं गुरु सकलभुवनसृष्टिः कल्पिता शेषपुष्टिर्निखिलनिगमदृष्टिः सम्पदां व्यर्थदृष्टिः अवगुणपरिमाष्टे तत्पदार्थैकदृष्टिः भवगुणपरमेष्टे मोक्षमार्गैकदृष्टिः सकलभुवनरङ्गा स्थापनस्तम्भयसि सकरुणरसवृष्टे तत्त्वमालासमसि सकलसमयसृष्टि सच्चिदानन्ददृश्य निवसतु मयि नित्यं श्रीगुरुर्दिव्यदृष्टि अग्निशुद्धं समन्तातु ज्वालापरिचकाधिया मन्त्रराजामिमं मन्ये हर्निशं पातु मृत्युतः तदेजते तन्नैजते तद्दूरे तत्समीपके तदन्तरस्य सर्वस्य तदु सर्वस्य बाह्यतः अजोऽहमजरोऽहं च अनादिनिधनस्वयम् अविकारश्चिदानन्द अणीयान्महतो महान् अपूर्वाणां परं नित्यं भव्यं ज्योतिर्निरामयं विराजं परमाकाशं ध्रुवमानन्दमव्ययम् श्रुते प्रत्यक्षमैतेयम् अनुमानश्चतुष्टयम् यस्य चात्मा तपो वेद देशिकं च सदा स्मरेत् मननं यद्भवं कार्यं तद्वदामि महामते साधुत्वं च मया दृष्टं त्वयि तिष्ठति साम्प्रतम् अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः सर्वश्रुते शिरोरत्न विराजिता पदाम्बुजः वेदान्ताम्बुजसूर्यो यत् तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः यस्य स्मरणमात्रेण ज्ञानमुत्पद्यते स्वयं य एव सर्वसम्प्राप्तिस्तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः चैतन्यं शाश्वतं शान्तं व्योमातीतं निरञ्जनं नादविन्दुकलातीतं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः स्थावरं जङ्गमं चैव तथा चैव चराचरं व्याप्तं येन जगत्सर्वं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः ज्ञानशक्तिसमारूढ तत्त्वमाला विभूषिता भुक्तिमुक्तिप्रदाताय तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः अनेकजन्मसम्प्राप्त सर्वकर्मविदाहिने स्वात्मज्ञानप्रभावेण तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः न गुरोरधिकं तत्त्वं न गुरोरधिकं तपः तत्त्वं ज्ञानात् परं नास्ति तस्मै मन्नाथ श्री जगन्नाथो मद्गुरु श्री जगद्गुरु ममात्मा सर्वभूतात्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ध्यानमूलं गुरुर्मूर्ति पूजामूलं गुरुपदं मन्त्रमूलं गुरुर्वाक्यं मोक्षमूलं गुरुकृपा। गुरुरादिरनादिश्च गुरुपरमदैवतं गुरुपरतरं नास्ति तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सप्तसागरपर्यन्तं तीर्थस्नानादिकं फलं गुरोरङ्घ्रे पयोबिन्दु सहस्रांशेन दुर्लभम्। हरौरुष्टे गुरुस्त्राता गुरोरुष्टेन कश्चन तस्मात् सर्वप्रयत्नेन गुरुं शरणं व्रजे। गुरुरेव जगत्सर्वं ब्रह्म विष्णु शिवात्मकं गुरुपरतरं नास्ति तस्मात् सम्पूजयेत् गुरुम्। ज्ञानं विज्ञानसहितं लभ्यते गुरुभक्तितः गुरुपरतरं नास्ति ध्येयोऽसौ गुरुमार्गिवे। यस्मात् परतरं नास्ति नेति नेतीति वैश्रुते मनसा वचसा चैव नित्यमाराधयेत् गुरुं। देवकिन्नर समर्थ प्रभवदो च केवलं गुरुसेवया। देवकिन्नरगन्धर्वा पितरो यक्षचारणा मुनयोऽपि न जानन्ति गुरुशुश्रूषणे विधिं। महाहङ्कारगर्वेण तपो विद्यावलान्विता संसारकुहरावर्ते घटयन्त्रे यथा घटाः। न मुक्ता देवगन्धर्वा पितरो यक्षकिन्नरा ऋषयः सर्वसिद्धाश्च गुरुसेवा परामुक्ता। ध्यानं शृणु महादेवी सर्वानन्दप्रदायकं सर्वसौख्यकरं नित्यं भुक्तिमुक्तिविधायकम्। श्रीमत्परब्रह्मगुरुं स्मरामि श्रीमत्परब्रह्म गुरुं वदामि श्रीमत्परब्रह्मगुरुं नमामि श्रीमत्परब्रह्मगुरुं भजामि। ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम्। एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। नित्यं शुद्धं निराभासं निराकारं निरञ्जनं नित्यबोधं चिदानन्दं गुरुं ब्रह्मा नमाम्यहम्। हृदम्बुजे कर्णिकमध्यसंस्थे सिंहासने संस्थितदिव्यमूर्तिं ध्यायेत् गुरुं चन्द्रकलाप्रकाशं चित्पुस्तकाभीष्टवरं ददानं। श्वेताम्बरं श्वेतविलेपपुष्पं मुक्ताविभूषं मुदितं द्विनेत्रं वामाङ्गपीठस्थितदिव्यशक्तिं मन्दस्थितं सान्द्रकृपानिधानम्। आनन्दमानन्दमयं सकलं प्रसन्नं ज्ञानस्वरूपं निजबोधयुक्तं योगीन्द्रमीड्यं भवरोगवैद्यं श्रीमद्गुरुं नित्यमहं नमामि। यस्मिन् सृष्टि स्थिति ध्वंस निग्रहानुग्रहात्मकं कृत्यं पञ्चविधं शाश्वत भासते तं नमाम्यहम्। प्रातः शिरसि शुक्लाब्जे द्विनेत्रं द्विभुजं गुरुं वराभययुतं शान्तं परितं पूर्वकम्। न गुरोरधिकं न गुरोरधिकं न गुरोरधिकं न गुरोरधिकं शिवशासनता 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 त्विदमेव शिवं त्विदमेव शिवं त्विदमेव शिवं त्विदमेव शिवं मम शासनतो मम शासनतो मम शासनतो मम शासनतः। एवं विधं गुरुं ध्यात्वा ज्ञानमुत्पद्यते स्वयं तत्सद्गुरुप्रसादेन मुक्तोऽहमेति भावये। गुरुदर्शितं मार्गेण मनःशुद्धिं तु कारये अनित्यं खण्डयेत् सर्वं यत्किञ्चिदात्मगोचरम्। ज्ञेयं सर्वस्वरूपं च मौनं च मन उच्यते अज्ञेयं समं कुर्यान् नान्यपन्था द्वितीयकः। एवं श्रुत्वा महादेवी गुरुनिन्दां करोति स याति नरकं घोरं यावच्चन्द्रदिवाकरो। यावत्कल्पान्तको देह तावदेव गुरुं स्मरेत् लोको न कर्तव्य स्वच्छन्दो यदि वाग्भवेत्। ओङ्कारेण न वक्तव्यं प्राज्ञै शिष्ये कथञ्चन गुरोरग्रे न वक्तव्य असत्यं च कदाचन। गुरुं त्वं कृत्य हुङ्कृत्य गुरुं निर्जित्य बाधतः अरण्ये निर्जले देशे स भवेत् ब्रह्मराक्षसः। मुनिविपन्नगैर्वापि शूरैर्भाषापितो यदि कालमृत्युभयाद्वापि गुरो रक्षति पार्वती। अशक्ता हि सुराद्यश्च अशक्ता मुनयस्तथा गुरोशापेन ते शीघ्रं स्वयं यान्ति न संशया। मन्त्रराजमिदं देवी गुरोरित्याक्षरद्वयं स्मृतिवेदार्थवाक्येन साक्षात् परं परम्। वृत्ति अविज्ञाय केवलं गुरुसेवका ते वै सन्न्यासिना प्रोक्ता इतरे वेषधारिणा। गुरु निर्गुणं बोधयेत् परं सर्वं ब्रह्मा निराभासं दीपो दीपान्तरं यथा। गुरुकृपाप्रसादेन आत्मा रामं निरीक्षये अनेन गुरुमार्गेण स्वात्मज्ञानं प्रवर्तते। आब्रह्मस्तम्भपर्यन्तं परमात्मा स्वरूपकं स्थावरं जङ्गमं चैव नमामि जगन्मयम्। वन्देऽहं सच्चिदानन्दं वेदातीतं सदा गुरुं नित्यं पूर्णं निराकारं निर्गुणं स्वात्मसंस्थितं परात् परतरं देयं नित्यमानन्दकारकं हृदयाकाशमध्यस्थं शुद्धस्फटिकसन्निभं स्फटिकाप्रतिमारूपं दृश्यते दर्पणे यथा तदात्मनि चिदाकारम् आनन्दं सोऽहमित्युत अङ्गुष्ठमात्रपुरुषं ध्यायतश्चिन्मयं हृदि तत्र स्फुरति भावोय शृणोतं कथयाम्यहम् अगोचरं तथा गम्यं नामरूपविवर्जितं निःशब्दं तद्विजानीय स्वभावं ब्रह्म पार्वती यदा गन्धस्वभावेन कर्पूरकुसुमादिषु शीतोष्णादिस्वभावेन तत्मा च शाश्वतम् अथाविधो भूत्वा ख्यातव्यं यत्र कुत्रचित् कीटभ्रमरवत्रत्र ध्यानं भवति तादृशम् गुरुध्यानं तथा कृत्वा अयं ब्रह्ममयो भवेत् पिण्डे पदे तथा रूपे मुक्तौ सौ नात्र संशयः श्रीपार्वती उवाच पिण्डं किं नो महादेव पदं किं समुदारितं रूपादितं च रूपं किम् एतदाख्याहि शङ्करम् श्रीमहादेव पिण्डं कुण्डलिनी शक्ते पदं हंसमुदारितं रूपं बिन्दुरिते गेयं रूपातीतं पिण्डे मुक्ता पदे मुक्ता रूपे मुक्ता वरानने रूपातीते तु ये मुक्ता स्ते मुक्ता नात्र संशयः सर्वमयो भूत्वा तातत्त्वं लोकये परात् परतरं नान्यत् सर्वमेतन्निरालयम् तस्यावलोकनं प्राप्य सर्वसङ्गविवर्जितम् एकाके निष्पृहा शान्तः तिष्ठासे तत्प्रसादतः लब्धं वा धनलब्धं वा स्वल्पं वा बहुलं तथा निष्कामेनैव भोक्तव्यम् सर्वज्ञपदमित्याहुर्देहि सर्वमयो बुधा सदानन्द सदा शान्तो रमते यत्र कुत्रचित् यत्रैव तिष्ठते सोऽपि सदेश पुण्यभाजनं मुक्तस्य लक्षणं देवि प्रभागे कथितं मया उपदेशस्तथा देवी गुरुमार्गेण मुक्तिदा गुरुभक्तिस्तथा ध्यानं सकलं तव कीर्तितम् अनेन यद्भवेत् कार्यं तद्वदामि महामते लोकोपकारकं देवी लौकिकं तु न भावये लौकिकात् कर्मणो यान्ति ज्ञानहीना भवार्णव ज्ञानी तु भावयेत् सर्वं कर्म निष्कर्म यत्कृतम् इदं तु भक्तिभावेन पठते शृणुते यदि लिखित्वा तत्प्रदातव्यं तत्सर्वं सफलं भवेत् गुरुगीतात्मकं देवी शुद्धतत्त्वं मयोदितं भवव्याधिविनाशार्थं स्वयमेव जपेत् सदा गीताक्षरैकं तु मन्त्रराजमिदं जपे अन्ये च विविधा मन्त्रा कलां नारन्ति षोडशीम् अनन्तबलमाप्नोति गुरुगीता जपेन तु सर्वपापप्रशमनं सर्वदारिद्र्यनाशनं कालमृत्युभयहरं सर्वसङ्कटनाशनं यक्षराक्षसभूतान् व्याघ्रवयापहं महाव्याधिहरं सर्वं विभूतिसिद्धिदं भवे अथवा मोहनं वश्यं स्वयमेव जपेत् सदा वस्त्रासने च दारिद्र्यं पाषाणे रोगसम्भवा मेदिन्यां दुःखमाप्नोति कष्टे भवति निष्फलम् कृष्णार्जुने ज्ञानसिद्धि मोक्षश्रीव्याघ्रचर्मणि कुशासने ज्ञानसिद्धि सर्वसिद्धिस्तु कम्बले घुषैर्वा दुर्वया देवी आसने शुभ्रकम्बले उपविश्य ततो देवी जपेदेकाग्रमानसा देयं शुक्लं च शान्त्यर्थं वश्ये रक्तासनं प्रिये अविचारे कृष्णवर्णं पीतवर्णं धनागमे उत्तरे शान्तिकामस्तु कक्षे पूर्वमुखो जपे दक्षिणे मारणं प्रोक्तं पश्चिमे च धनागम मोहनं सर्वभूतानां बन्धमोक्षकरं भवेत् देवराजा प्रियकरं सर्वलोकवशं भवेत् सर्वेषां स्तम्भनकरं गुणानां च दुष्कर्मनाशनं चैव सुकर्मसिद्धिदं भवेत् असिद्धं साधयेत् कार्यं नवग्रहभयापहं दुःस्वप्ननाशनं चैव सुस्वप्नफलदायकम् सर्वशान्तिकरं नित्यं तथा वन्द्यासु पुत्रदम् अवैधव्यं करं स्त्रीणां सौभाग्यदायकं सदा आयुरारोग्यमैश्वर्यं पुत्रपौत्रप्रवर्धनम् अकामता श्रीविधवा जपान्मोक्षमवाप्नुयात् अवैधव्यं सकामातु लभते चान्यजन्मनि सर्वस्यभयं विघ्नं सर्वबाधाप्रशमनं धर्मार्थकाममोक्षदम् यं यं चिन्तयते कामं तं तं प्राप्नोति निश्चितम् कामितस्य कामधेनो कल्पनाकल्पपादपः चिन्तामणिश्चिन्तितस्य सर्वमेतत्कारकम् मोक्षहेतुर्जपे नित्यं मोक्षश्रियामवाप्नुयात् भोगकामो जपेद्यो वै फलप्रदम् जपेक्षाक्तश्च सौरश्च गणपत्यश्च वैष्णवः शैवश्च सिद्धिदं देवि सत्यं सत्यं न संशया अथ काम्या जपे स्थानम् अथ यामि वरानने सागरे वा सरितीरे अथवा हरिहरालये शक्तिदेवालये गोष्ठे सर्वदेवालयेषु वे भटे च दातृमूले वा मठे वृन्दावने तथा नित्यानुष्ठानतोऽपि वा निर्वेदनेन मौनेन जपमेतं समाचरे भूमौ तु भट्टमूलान्तिके तथा सिद्ध्यन्ति दातरे मूले च्यूतवृक्षस्य सन्निधौ गुरुपुत्रो वरं मूर्खस्तत्र सद्यन्ति नान्यथा शुभकर्माणि सर्वाणि दीक्षाव्रततपांसि च संसारमलनाशार्थं भवपाशनिवृत्तये गुरुगीतां वशिष्णानं तत्त्वज्ञा कुरुते सदा एव च गुरु साक्षात् सर्वशुद्धः पवित्रोऽसौ स्वभावाद् यत्र तिष्ठति तत्र देवगणाः सर्वे क्षेत्रे पीठे वसन्ति आसनस्थः शयानो वा गच्छन् तिष्ठन् वदन्नपि अश्वारूढो गजारूढः सुप्तो जागरितोऽपि वा शुचिस्माश सदा ज्ञानी गुरुगीता जपेन तु तस्य दर्शनमात्रेण पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते समुद्रे च यथा तोयं क्षीरे क्षीरं घृते घृतं विन्ने कुम्भे यथाकाशस्तथात्मा परमात्मनि तथैव ज्ञानी जीवात्मा परमात्मानि लीयते ऐक्येन रमते ज्ञानी यत्र तत्र दिवानिशम् एवंविधो महामुक्ता सर्वदा वर्तते बुधा अस्य सर्वप्रयत्नेन भावभक्तिं करोति यः सर्वसन्देहरहितो मुक्तो भवति पार्वती मुक्ति द्वयं तस्य जिह्वाग्रे च सरस्वती अनेन प्राणिना सर्वे गुरुगीता जपेन तो सर्वसिद्धिं प्राप्नुवन्ति भुक्तिमुक्तिं न संशयात् सत्यं सत्यं पुनः सत्यं धर्म्यं सांख्यं मयोदितं गुरुगीता समं नास्ति सत्यं सत्यं वरानन एको देव एकधर्म एकनिष्ठा परं तपः गुरुपरातरं नान्यत् नास्ति तत्त्वं गुरुपरम् माता धन्या पिता धन्यो धन्यो वंशकुलं च था धन्या च वसुधा देवी गुरुभक्ति सुदुर्लभा शरीरम् इन्द्रियं प्राण स्वयं बान्धवा माता पिता कुलं देवी गुरोरेव न अकल्पजन्मनां कोट्या जपा व्रत तपक्रिया तत्सर्वं सफलं देवी गुरु सन्तोष विद्यादपोलवलिनैव मन्दभाग्याशये नरा गुरुसेवां न कुर्वन्ति सत्यं सत्यं वरानने ब्रह्म विष्णु महेशाश्च देवर्षि पितृकिन्नराः सिद्धचारण यक्षाश्च अन्येऽपि मुनयो जना भावा परं तीर्थम् अन्यतीर्थं निरर्थकं सर्वतीर्थाश्रयो देवी पादाङ्गुष्ठंश वर्तते जपेन जयमाप्नोति चानन्तफलमाप्नुयात् हीनकर्म त्वजन् सर्वाणि च धमानि च जपं हीनासनं कुर्वन् हीनकर्म फलप्रदं गुरुगीतां प्रणानेव सङ्ग्रामे रिपुसङ्कटे जपञ्जयामवाप्नोति मुक्तिदायकं सर्वकर्मा च सर्वत्र गुरुपुत्रस्य सिद्ध्यति इदं रहस्यं नो वाच्यं तवाग्रे कथितं मया सुगोप्यं च प्रयत्नेन मम त्वं च प्रियात्वति स्वामी मुख्या गणेशादि विष्णुवादीनां च पार्वती मनसापेन वक्तव्यं सत्यं सत्यं वदाम्यहम् अतीव पक्वचित्ताय श्रद्धाभक्तियुताय च प्रवक्तव्यमिदं देवी ममात्मासि सदा प्रिय अभक्तिवञ्चके धूर्ते पाखण्डे नास्तिके नरे मनसापेन वक्तव्यं गुरुगीता कदाचन संसारसागरसमुद्धरणकमन्त्रं ब्रह्मादिदेवमुनिपूजितसिद्धमन्त्रं दारिद्र्यदुःखभवरोगविनाशमन्त्रं वन्दे महाभयहरं हिरुराजमन्त्रम् इति श्रीस्कन्दपुराणे खण्डे ईश्वर-पार्वती संवादे गुरुगीता समाप्ता। श्री गुरुदेव चरणार्पणमस्तु। नित्यानन्दाय गुरवे शिष्यसंसारहारिणे भक्तकार्ये गदेहाय नमस्ते चित्सदात्मने निर्वासनं निराकाङ्क्षं सर्वदोषविवर्जितं निरालम्बं निरातङ्कं नित्यानन्दं नमाम्यहम् निर्ममं निरहङ्कारं सर्वदोषात्मकाञ्चनं समदुःखसुखं धीरम् अवधूतं नमाम्यहम् अविनाशिनमात्मानम् एकं विज्ञाय तत्त्वतः वीतरागभयक्रोधं नित्यानन्दं नमाम्यहम् रामदेहो न मे देहो जीवो नाहं महं एवं विज्ञाय सन्तुष्टम् अवधूतं नमाम्यहम् समस्तं कल्पनामात्रम् आत्मा मुक्ता सनातन इति विज्ञाय सन्तुष्टम् अत्यानन्दं नमाम्यहम् ज्ञानाग्निदग्धकर्माणं कामसङ्कल्पवर्जितम् हीनोपादेयहीनं तम् अवधूतं नमाम्यहम् सुखं भोगं न वाञ्छति यदृच्छालाभसन्तुष्टं नित्यानन्दं नमाम्यहम् नैव निन्दा प्रशंसाभ्यां यस्य विक्रियते मनः आत्मक्रीडं महात्मानं नित्यं नमाम्यहम् नित्यं जाग्रदवस्थायां स्वप्नवद्योपतिष्ठति निश्चिन्तं चिन्मयात्मानं नित्यानन्दं नमाम्यहम् द्वेषं नास्ति प्रियं नास्ति नास्ति यस्य शुभागं वेयोपादे अवधूतं नमाम्यहम् जडं पश्यति नो यस्तु जगत् पश्यति चिन्मयम् नित्ययुक्तं गुणातीतं नित्यानन्दं नमाम्यहम् यो हि दर्शनमात्रेण भवते भुवनत्रयम् पावनं जङ्गमं तीर्थम् अवधूतं नमाम्यहम् अखण्डानन्दविग्रहं स्वप्रकाशं चिदानन्दं नित्यानन्दं नमाम्यहम्। निष्कलं निष्क्रियं शान्तं निर्मलं परमामृतं गणेशपुरीवासिनम् अवधूतं नमाम्यहम्। पूर्णं तपोमूर्तिं प्रेमपूर्णं सुदर्शनं ज्ञानपूर्णं कृपामूर्तिं नित्यानन्दं नमाम्यहम्। दुर्जनः सज्जनो भूयात् सज्जनः शान्तिमाप्नुयात् शान्तो मुच्येत वन्देभ्यो मुक्तशान्यान् विमोचयेत्। स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्याय्येन मार्गेण महिषा गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु। काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितो ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः। सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। सर्वस्तरातु दुर्गाणि सर्वो भद्राणि पश्यतु। सर्वकामान् वाप्नोतु सर्वत्र नन्दतु। स्वस्ति मातरौ पित्रेणो अस्तु स्वस्ति भव्यो स्वस्ति पुरुषे विश्वं सुभूतं सुविधात्रं नो अस्तु जोगे मदृशेम सूर्यम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। आरती करूं सद्गुरु के करूं सद्गुरु के प्यारे गुरु वर के। आरती करूं गुरु वर के आरती करूं सद्गुरु के करूं सद्गुरु के प्यारे गुरुवर के। आरती करूं गुरुवर। जय गुरुदेव अमल अविनाशी ज्ञान रूप तर के वासी। जय गुरुदेव पग पग पर देते प्रकाश जैसे किरण दिनकर की। आरती करूं गुरुवर की आरती करूं सद्गुरु की करूं सद्गुरु की प्यारे गुरुवर की। आरती करूं गुरुवर की। जब जे शरण तुम्हारे आए अमृत से मीठे फल पाए। जब जे शरण तुम्हारे आए शरण तुम्हारे क्या है छाया। कल्प वृक्ष धरुवर की आरती करूं गुरुवर की, आरती करूं सदा गुरु की करूं सदा गुरु के प्यारे गुरुवर की, आरती करूं गुरुवर की। ब्रह्म ज्ञान के पूर्ण प्रकाश कयो ज्ञान के अटल प्रवर्तक, ब्रह्म ज्ञान के जय गुरु चरण सरो मिटा दे व्यथा हमारे उर के, आरती करूं गुरुवर की, आरती करूं गुरु के प्यारे गुरुवर की, आरती करूं गुरुवर के। अंधकार से हमें निकाला दिखला या है अमर उजाला, अंधकार से कब से जाने जा न रहे थे, पाक सुनो दर करगे, आरती करूं गुरुवर की, आरती करूं सदा गुरु के करूं सदा गुरु के प्यारे गुरुवर की, आरती करूं गुरुवर के। संशय मिटा विवेक कराया, भवसागर से पार लंघाया, अमर प्रदीप जला कर दे निशा दूर तन की, आरती करूं गुरुवर के, आरती करूं सदा गुरु की करूं सदा गुरु के प्यारे गुरुवर के, आरती करूं गुरुवर के। वेदों बेच अवेद बताया, आवागमन विमुक्त कराया, वेदों बेच अवेद धन्य हुए हम पाकर दार, ब्रह्म ज्ञान निरजर की, आरती करूं गुरुवर की, आरती करूं गुरु की करूं गुरु के प्यारे गुरुवर की, आरती करूं करो कृपा सद्गुरु जग तारण, सतपथ दर्शक भ्रांति निवारण, करो कृपा सद्गुरु सतपथ दर्शक, जय हो नित्य ज्योति दिखाने वाले लीला धर के, आरती करूं गुरुवर, आरती करूं गुरु की करूं सद्गुरु की प्यारे गुरु वर की आरती करूं गुरुवर। नित्यानंद सद्गुरु दाता शक्ति पासके दिव्या प्रदाता मोक्तानंद सदा गुरुदाता दिव्या प्रदाता कर के बात गणेश पुरे बाबा बाधारले जनके आरती करूं गुरु, आरती करूं सद्गुरु की करूं सद्गुरु के प्यारे, आरती करूं गुरुवर की। ओम चैतन्यं शाश्वतं शान्तं व्योमातीतं निरञ्जनं नादबिन्दु फलातीतं तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Shiva सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।
Good morning and welcome to Shanti Mandir Sunday morning Satsang, a tradition that keeps going strong. And I'm looking out, am I seeing any new faces? If there are, put your hand up. No? Okay. Maybe I'm the new face. We'll see. Anyway, let us begin in our traditional way, and we'll sing the introductory mantras. Mukta Nandaya Gurave Shisha Samsara Harine Bhakta Karye Kadehaya Namaste Chitsaratmane Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchit Ananda Murtaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunatu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditam astu Mahavidvishavahe Om Shanti 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 Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. So, what will we discuss today? What will be the subject matter of satsang? I think this because I'm supposed to be leading it and sharing something. So, and that's, in its own way, it's a great gift because it means I have to reflect. It means I have to sort of get inside more and see what might be of value. Certainly from my point of view, and perhaps from your point of view. And so I'd like to think it is a good practice for all of us to reflect, to think about what's important. So my typical style is I'll speak about related subjects on this path, and I sometimes call them threads, because I think of like a woven rope, you know, and it has threads. And we have things on the path like the three gunas, the three states of consciousness. Have you noticed there's a lot of threes? That's very significant, by the way, and that's one of the things I'll probably mention today. Because the way this universe is set up, this universe which we're trying to connect to at a deeper and deeper level, we're going to progress through those levels, through what might be the most gross level, okay? And we can see that, we can touch it, we can feel it, we can smell it, all of that. That's a level of existence that most everyone on the planet relates to. But then we know that there's subtler levels, the mind, the emotions. We have the waking state, we have the dream state. Now, you can't grab it, put your hand on it, but it is quite powerful, isn't it? And then we go deeper than that, to the deep sleep state. So on all of these arenas that I'm touching on, there are at least those three levels: gross, subtle, subtler. If we talk about sound, and we've been chanting, we know there we have four levels. Okay, so they're on top. It's like I'm using Vaikari, the spoken word. But not only is the spoken word, there are the thoughts that proceed normally, although they say some people speak before thinking. Nonetheless, there is that subtler level, isn't it? We go inside, I'm thinking about, maybe I could say, I'll say it, or not. I'll just feel it, subtler level. Before that, there's just maybe an impulse to a thought even, before the thought. And before that, and this is the goal that we're trying to strive for in meditation, there is just calm, stillness, the state of, there are many names, but we might just call it pure consciousness. Pure consciousness with no impulse or sponder vibration. When we calm down, when we do go into our state of meditation, that's the experience we're seeking. So, to put it simply, this is kind of a review, but it's good so that we're on the same page. We think of pure consciousness, Shiva Shakti, that state before anything manifests. This is the macrocosmic level I'm speaking of here. And then that pure consciousness, for whatever reason, we'll touch on that, has an impulse. It has an impulse. It hasn't created a particular thing yet, like we have. Sitting down on the couch on Sunday morning, perhaps before you came here. Satsang? So you were completely still. And then there's a subtle something, impulse. That could be nice. See how it's going from complete stillness to a subtle impulse, no form yet, to I could go to satsang, to actually being here. For those of you who have come and those who didn't, well, that's how their creative impulse goes. So what it's about for us then is how do we get to experience that calm peace on the one hand, and how can we actually take an impulse, move to where we want to go, and still be experiencing that inner peace and contentment. This is the challenge of the spiritual path. Can we not just have that experience in deep meditation, albeit a wonderful thing, but when we get in touch with that experience, can we possibly take it with us? You know, like, oh, I think I'm going, but I'm not going to leave it, as we sometimes say, on the mat. And I'm not going to take the physical mat with me. I'm going to take the inner state of the mat with me. And this is a really great challenge, because it's a wonderful thing, as I was saying, to have that inner experience. It's an even more wonderful thing to have that inner experience as we lead our lives. In other words, as we live it. The gross, the subtle, the subtler, these are the states that we're working with. And when we think of those states, we think, I was just thinking about how to think about that. When we think about that, because we're most comfortable with the physical, but when we do that, so we can chant, like I said, but then the sages tell us, the wise ones, the gurus say, yes, and we want to go deeper than that. We want to take that experience, as we did here, from the chant into meditation. And that's nice. But then I stand up, and I kind of insert myself, and then we're going to have a meal, you're going to go, you may see friends later. Can I just hold on to that somehow or another? Stay with that state. So we do rituals, we do all of these things, and I'm speaking of the spiritual path now, okay? To get to a deeper state. But we also want to be able to maybe, let's just take that mantra with me. How can I do that? I can repeat it silently, can't I? That's a part of the path. It's the spoken, chanted practice, wonderful. but then we want to have it in here. And now it's subtler. And in fact, the whole purpose of mantra at that level is to just feel it, be with it. And we sometimes say in the scriptures, they'll teach us that when we actually are repeating the mantra, be it Om Namah Shivaya, or maybe a mantra that you have, they say the deity of the mantra is the mantra. Sit with that for a moment. Slightly different way of saying it. The mantra is the form of the deity. So now we're not pushing the deity, our inner being aside. We're saying this is another form. So we repeat technically what's called japa. But we need to have the understanding of japa, that it is Shiva, it is the Devi, it is the Guru. Now, initially, we may not be experiencing that, but if we stay with it, what is it doing? The mantra, those vibrations are purifying us. Purifying us. So that's why it's so important to stay with our practices, to do it, even though we may not feel immediately when we repeat that mantra inside, oh wow, it's the Devi, it's the Guru, it's the God. No, but as we do it, that whole inner mechanism of the mind and the buddhi and the ego starts to get subtler and subtler. And then we have times when, as many of you will know, you just notice the mantra is happening. Whoa, how did that happen? And then you just tune into it. What's actually going on inside, out of the repetition, the practice. This is subtle. This is very subtle. But it happens. And then we want to bring together that understanding with the subtle and do it more, don't we? We go, oh, this works. Okay. This is sadhana. This is the practice on the different levels, the gross. We're reflecting on the Devi, Lalita, and we see the photos, the pictures, on one level. And then as we keep doing that, we're chanting, say, the Lalita Sahasranam, those 1,000 names. The more we do that, the more we tune into that. And I shared this experience a couple of weeks ago, I'm not sure when it was, but someone contacted me, one of the people they were actually in the study group that we do every couple of weeks. And she sent me a message, said, oh my God, is everything okay? I saw the Devi in front of me. Okay. And you can imagine, you read about it and you say, wouldn't that be wonderful? But when it happens, it's like, oh my God. What's going on? So that gross level starts to produce something subtler. Because it wasn't like she could physically touch the Devi, but there was the vision right in front. So we're going through those levels again. The gross produces the subtle. The subtle produces something which is even subtler. Chanting, mantra, japa, the medium. It all starts to dissolve, and that dissolution of the gross and the physical as it gets subtler and subtler, then what are we left with? I noticed something that came across my screen this week, and I thought, sometimes when that happens, it's like, I'm not necessarily saying the Devi, but I have that experience of something comes in front of my screen, or I open a book and something just seems to jump out, and I think, this I need to follow. This was simple. It was a little video. It was 1935, November 29th, and Paramahansa Yogananda visits Ramana Maharshi, the great sage of India. And they have a chat. They talk. They spend time together. And as that's happening, some really interesting points came out. And one of them was about the question that many of us have at various points at the beginning or whenever. If this is all consciousness, if this is all God, if this is all the Devi, and the way he put it was, Yogananda, he said, why does God allow suffering? Why does God allow suffering? There's a few things that happen here. One thing that Ramana Maharshi said was, suffering is the way to realization of God. Think of that. Suffering is the way to the realization of God. Perhaps at our level of understanding, we're saying suffering is getting in the way. And a great realized being says, no, suffering is the way to the realization of God. What a different way of thinking about it. Yogananda persisted. He said, why should there be suffering? At all. Why should there be suffering? And then, as the great beings often do, he just took a different tack, Maharshi, and he says, who suffers? That's a different response. Who suffers? So, and I was watching this and I was going with it myself. And if you can go with it, it produces something different. From the question of, why should there be suffering? Why does God let us suffer? Or project, whatever, however you want to put it. He says, who suffers? He didn't argue with Yogananda. Because then Maharshi added a few points. He said, that support of suffering, when searched for, who's there? As we search for the one who suffers, which is the ego, you realize it's not really who I think I am, who I want to be, who I believe I am at my best. It is not the inner self. It is not my consciousness that's suffering. How profound is that? So what is suffering? And his point is, it's the ego that suffers. And that's what we feel and believe I'm not. So, how big a deal is this? It's just such an amazing thing to come at it from a different point of view. And then he went on to say, actually, there is only the truth, the self. And whoever realizes that self, never suffers. There's a simple little thread here, isn't it? But it's just so profound if we can go with it. So I thought, okay, so each time I feel like I'm suffering, and we can all, there's this thing, he's like, just, and Ramana Maharshi was great with his questions. I mean, that's what he would do often. Ask yourself, who am I? Each time something comes up, ask, who am I? Who suffers? Who's in pain? Who, if it's a negative thing? And really it comes down to what? Who am I really? Shaivism would say, and this is, I just want to make a point here about all these, quote, different profound philosophies. They're not really different. They're different words. Shaivism says it's anavamala. Anavamala, this impurity, which says, I am not that self, I am a limited self, ego. And Shaivism says that's the first and biggest problem. Because it's in that space that I feel I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, or from another perspective, I'm better than everybody, because it can be a put down of oneself or an exaggerated view of myself. Both produce suffering. Both will produce suffering. The big ego maybe feels like it holds it off a bit. I'll get more money, I'll get more possessions, I'll get all of that, and I'm good now. But if one is honest with oneself, no. You're still clutching, you're still grabbing. More is never enough. I think I said this maybe last week, and I forget. I should find out the poet and the beautiful poem which says, more, more, more is the cry of the forsaken soul. Less than all is never enough. And so as long as we are that soul that's disconnected from ourselves, we just keep trying to. Because what? Because at a certain level, we know we have everything. And we're trying to get to that inner experience of fullness by using these outer things. And it never suffices. So, Yogananda, like most of us, have more questions for the Guru. It's a simple one. He says, what is the way of upliftment? What is the way of upliftment for seekers? And so Yogananda says, well, there is not one way. There isn't one way. There can't be one way. Because the way depends on each of our temperaments, and we all have different temperaments. So there must be more than one way. But that one way, the way for me, the way for you, it's still a true path. It's still some true path. And there's the wonderful thing about Indian spirituality is that it understands that. So it has all of these different traditions. Right? And we have to realize that it really is a matter of accepting we have different temperaments, and different temperaments work for different people. We don't have to say, you have to be on my path, because it's the right path. Ekam Sat. The truth is one, but the paths are many. So that takes a kind of magnanimous spirit, doesn't it? To realize what I want to be happy about is that someone is on a true path. Doesn't have to be my path. Not necessary. Just be on a path. Just find a tradition that works for you. But at our Anavamala level, we find ourselves being judgmental and critical, high and low, right and wrong, and it's so subtle on the spiritual path. It's subtle in the sense that if we find something that works, it's a good thing to feel good about it, but it's not like it's the only way. It's not like someone else has done something wrong, you know? There's a great, I think it's Sutra number 33 in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. If I had it, I would read it to you. Maybe I do. And it basically says, oh, okay. It'll come up in what I want to do with you now. Hold that thought. When we work with, when we look at the path of the Devi, that the Devi offers us, it requires sadhana, like all spiritual paths do, as I was saying. You get a slightly different, I don't know if that's a better word, a slight other angle on it. So we who are familiar with the spiritual path, we know there's meditation, there's chanting, there's scriptures, we know those things exist, and we try to do them on a fairly regular basis. In Trividya, there's a thing called bhavana. Bhavana. And bhavana is really good because it's basically a reflective contemplation. So you not only read and hear about these truths or scriptures, but the idea is to reflect on them, to contemplate them, to go inside of it and really try to get it. And I want to share something of that with you. In Shaivism, I guess the equivalent would be, what do they call them? Dharnas, focusing point. So it's not, like I said, it's very closely allied. So here's one, it's a bhavana. Okay. Your role is to reflect and contemplate. So just go with me. This is one of the commentators, and I like what she's done. So this is it. Contemplate how you interact with others. Contemplate how you interact with others. So the question is, what goes on in your internal landscape when you see friends and acquaintances, in particular, having fun and being happy? So just tune into that. And there's a series of questions that comes next. Does envy and resentment arise? Does envy and resentment arise? How do you feel about people who are suffering? Now, so it's a different thing. They're not having fun now. How do you feel about people who are suffering? Then, in that situation, are you driven by pity, which is different, by the way, from compassion? Are you driven by pity, which is different from compassion? Pity is based on a kind of hierarchy. I'm better, so I can pity them. Compassion is based on equality. Okay? Another question. What feelings come up when you see other sadhakas, other people on the path, same or different, who seem to be more advanced? Who seem to be more advanced? That's a good one, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. How do you feel? This is a different question now. How do you feel when you hear news of crimes, injustice, and wars? That's an easy one to hear. How do you feel, though, is the question. So the point here is this, the point of this bhavana that I'm walking you through. The purpose is like anything else in the Lalita Sahasranam space. The purpose is svatantra, or absolute freedom. The purpose of chanting, studying Lalita is freedom, absolute freedom. When we contemplate our reactions, we see that they arise from comparison and judgment. So if we're going for freedom, this is meaning. We want that. When we experience the self, we want to be free. But sometimes our reaction is misaligned, if you will, with our purpose and our intention. And when we contemplate our reactions, we see that they arise from comparison and judgment. That's not what we want. And while it might seem to be self-righteous about wickedness, about meanness, about bad things, it does not lead to freedom. Let me go back. It may seem correct and righteous, it will never lead to freedom. It's based on anavamala. So our lens of perception becomes significantly clearer if we understand that and we go for what we want. Svatantra, freedom, love, peace. And when we have that awareness, we can see not only why we do what we do, but why anyone does what they do. We can see why we do what we do, and we see that anyone is doing what they want to do, ironically, bizarrely, for the same reason. We may be able to see that that's not going to get them there, but our coming in with a limited, contracted perception means we're not going to get there either. just the world. And this is a universal truth. So, that sutra in Patanjali, number 33, in the first pada, it goes something like this. This is their take on it. Open-heartedness is the natural result of this kind of clarity that we're talking about. So, there's about three or four points here I want you to get. When we can be friendly towards those who are happy, whatever the reason. When we see someone who's happy, accepting and friendly. On the other hand, be compassionate towards those who are in pain, whatever the reason. Compassion is the appropriate, deeply spiritual response reaction. Okay? Not pity, compassion. Be delighted for advanced seekers or anybody having good things happening. Just be delighted. And this is the tricky one. This is my experience. And dispassionate without self-righteousness when we see hatred and meanness coming from, we might call the wicked. So this is kind of saying how to deal with what's happening out here. From a point of view of being on the path, wanting freedom, wanting peace, wanting happiness, wanting God, wanting Shiva, wanting Shakti, wanting all of those wonderful things. If we want that, we need to, this is what they're saying, have that bhavana. Reflect constantly on what we actually want. It makes you can see why they call it bhavana and reflection. You really have to reflect on it. Because it can come at you from any angle at any point in time. You know, and you think you're doing great, and then bang. Uh-oh. How did that happen? But not to worry, as they say. I think this is also in Patanjali, some version of it. The path is about avoiding the pain that is yet to come. Avoid the pain. In other words, you can't do anything about the past. If we made a mistake, so be it. It's okay. But and again, I feel like what an incredibly powerful practice. Just that realization. Let it go. Just let it go, because you can't change it. But what you can do right now, Ram Dass was right. Being here right now is where we can operate. No other place. We can't do it in the future. We can't do it in the past. Just right here, right now, be what we want to be. Be free. And the great I don't know about you, but the great beings that typically inspire us are ones who have done that. Ones who, in the midst of horrific things, be it Mahatma Gandhi, be it Nelson Mandela, be it my hero, first hero, Martin Luther King. They just had this ability to do those things, but to also be able to see what's not right. And I don't know if this is the best way of putting it, but the way I put it was, Martin Luther King inspired me because he was able to point out that which is wrong without being mean and critical to the person. You know what I'm saying? Like that behavior, no, don't do that. That's bad behavior. But I'm with you at the same time. I can respect you. I can even have love for you. But no, not that behavior. Okay? Think about doing that sometimes. Being able to hold those two paradoxical, as I would say it, things going on. So, this is just another way of looking at the journey we're on. The levels, the gross, the subtle, the subtler, which is where we're trying to get to. And if you look at this setup, I'm just touching on different things. We can see the wonder and the beauty of Shaivism as it starts at the top in a beautiful way, and it says Chaitanya Mahatma. Consciousness is the nature of both the universe and the individual. And you go, wow, I'm just going to do that. That's good for me. I'll take 2 of those. No. You know what I mean? You hear it and you go, whoa. And then people go around like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Everything is consciousness. And then there's our life, which just comes in, and you have that question that Yogananda asked, which is like, why is there suffering then? And it's like, it does not compute, right? It's like, how can you, what? And Ramana Maharshi just cuts through the whole thing and says, who suffers? Whoa. That's what the path is really about. What the path is about is doing the sadhana to get to that point where we don't identify so much with suffering. Not that we're not seeing it, I'm not saying that. But that's not, we get it. That's happening out there. But the place where I can make a difference, and it's interesting, those 3 names that I gave you. Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi. They're the people we think of when we think of people who made unbelievable changes out there. Isn't it paradoxical? They didn't sit and say, why is there suffering? They were both spiritual and practical. That's my take on it. And so the power that they brought, I feel, from that space of realization, if I can be free, if I can get to that space somehow or another, if after 28 years or whatever it was for Nelson Mandela in prison, and when he got out, and I was thinking like an Australian, his mates were saying, now you can get him back, Nelson. And he said, I mean, that wasn't their actual statement, but he said, and what would I have of value to offer if I did that? If I felt what they did was wrong, but now I'm going to go doing the same thing to them, how is that going to change anything? No, I'm going to come from a deeper inner place. And that will be what makes the difference. And each of them do that. And they paid the price. Certainly Gandhi, Martin Luther King. But they were clear enough about who they were. I mean, there's that famous talk, a week before he was shot, Martin Luther King. He said, I've been to the mountaintop. I may not get there with you, but I've seen. And then he was gone. Okay, the last thing I want to throw in is perhaps something that relates to a deeper level of our challenge in that space of, quote, suffering, in that space of the world that we live in. Because one of the things we don't want to do if we're on the path is to create more binding negative karma. In other words, if we operate out of a space of difference and separation, and anger and pity and all of those things, we're going to create more karma from that space. Kind of reflect, contemplate on that. It's an ongoing thing. Some people get it right away. So, this bhavana is on karma. And it's about contemplating how we create karma more. So it starts right in the present. It says, think about an interaction that is weighing on your mind and the source of your suffering. Think about an interaction that is weighing on your mind and this is the source of your suffering. Comment here. He says, usually our suffering comes from thinking that the other person should not have done or said what he or she did, okay? Or that we should not have said what we did. It can happen either way, yeah? And I agree with them here. They say, and we have countless scenarios around what we and she should have done instead. You can think, oh, there was a time and you know. Anyway, on a higher level, contemplate why anyone does what they do, including you. Contemplate why anyone does what they do, including you. And they're going to give you 3 possibilities, maybe 4. Each of us speaks, thinks, and acts according to our specific me. Translate ego. Each of us speaks, thinks, and acts according to our specific me. Notice that these 3 speaks, thinks, and acts. 3 again. Yeah, so I may say it, or I may just think it, or I may just feel it. Now, or I act on it. See, I'm acting on those different levels according to my me. What I do, and this is the teaching, what I do has nothing whatsoever to do with you, and everything to do with myself. I'll say it again. What you do has nothing to do with you and everything to do with moi. And what you do has nothing whatsoever to do with anyone else except yourself. So even though we are interacting, each of us is responding to our own me. I don't know where this analogy popped into my mind from years ago. It's like 2 TV sets facing each other with the noise going. I love that example. Isn't it great? And it's just going, blah, 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 blah. And they're saying, this is what it's like. This is how we can live. But nothing, it's a TV set. So anyway, if that's of use to you. So the point, as soon as we place the blame for our response onto someone else, this is where we create karma. As soon as we place the blame, placing the blame is a key, for our response onto someone else, we have created karma with them. We act the way we do. Let me just go back a second with that. So that's when the scriptures are talking about ownership. That's when the scriptures are talking about attachment. That's what's meant. It's the attachment to an action, to a thought, to a feeling that creates karma. And that's why when we do seva, on the other hand, the whole idea is never to be attached to the outcome. Because then we create no karma. I do what I do to the best of my ability. I'm done. It's going to turn out the way it turns out. I can't, If I own it in any way, karma. Further point, we act the way we do because that is how anavamala, so now we're getting let out of jail a bit. It's saying it's actually not our fault. This is an important one too to understand. It's saying the reason it's so hard to let go of attachment is because of Maya, is because of anavamala. So, I'll shut my mouth in a moment. But I think this is an important thing. It's like, it's hard to let go of those things because that's what's been created by the Devi, by Shakti, by God, if you will. For what? For the play of it all. But remember, it's just a play at that level. if we get caught in it, if we don't see it as a play, then then there's a few more lifetimes to be lived out. And so the point here, the universal point is every person acts the way they do for this same reason. Everybody, all of us. That's what we have to let go of. That's the meaning of detachment. Let me put it this way, that's the value, the importance of detachment. Just let it go. And the irony, the beauty of it, I should say, is that if we can do that, grace comes in and helps us. See, this is the key out. Because now we get the grace of God, Devi, Guru, whatever you want to call it, that says, click, you don't have to suffer. So we are, through that contemplative reflection and our sadhana, we are drawing grace. So now, this physical universe that's been created, the Shakti that it is working with us to release and purify. Isn't that it's just such a... Let me finish it. So, if you've studied Lalita, you know about Bandasura, the demon. We're not going to go into that now. But the way they think about it, it is the case of Bandasura creating havoc as ongoing karma. And this is the way we get out of it. So when we do Navaratri, that's why we do that whole puja. We're bowing down to that realization that we can't do this by ourselves. We call on that energy, that Shakti, that grace to release us. Whether we call it Durga or Saraswati or Lakshmi, only the Devi, only the divine can really release us. So the fact that a situation is weighing on you is proof of having created the invisible bond of karma with that situation. And although it is long gone, it could have happened 15, 20 years ago, its impression is like a puppet string that will push and pull all of us into the present. And we may find ourselves thinking, feeling, or even saying out loud, why did I do that? Why did I do that? I know. On the other hand, if I realize in every situation that everybody is merely responding to their own conditioning, my interaction ends right then and there with no lasting impression. I have stopped creating karma. So as we go through the day, it's about becoming more and more aware of these principles, of this situation. And if we become more aware of our inner landscape, what's going on in here, and approach the situation from that deeper understanding. And this is why we can do physical things, practices in our sadhana, we can think about things in a different way, but ultimately we have to go all the way. And really, understand, I've got to do it at the deepest possible level. And it's not a matter of saying, oh, I've got to do it this moment, tomorrow, what have you. This is why also Patanjali says, you do sadhana for a long time with no interruption. And it can seem like, oh, ease off. But remember, we can do, if we think of sadhana like this, we can do it anytime, anywhere. It doesn't have to be that we have to actually be sitting, say in a chant, okay? At any point, at any time, as we live and breathe, wherever we are, we can be doing sadhana at this level. That's all I want to say. Or let them say. The wise ones who speak. Okay? And this is something to reflect on for all of us. Thank you for listening. Sadhgurnath Maharaj Ki Jai.
सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। आरती लीजो अज विनाशी पूर्ण नित्यानंद प्रकाशी पूर्ण मुक्तानंद प्रकाशी आरती लीजो। नवर धरणी आरती थाला चंद्र सूरज दो दीप उजाला। नवर धरणी आरती थाला चंद्र सूरज दो दीप उजाला। अगर चंदन सब धूप विराजे अगर चंदन सब धूप विराजे, झूला में रोचवर तरुरा श्री आरती ले जो, आरती ले जो। अज विनाशी पूर्ण नित्यानंद प्रकाश, पूर्ण मुक्तानंद प्रकाश। फूल वनस्पति है ये सारे, सातों सागर जल की झारे। फूल वनस्पति है ये सारे, सातों सागर जल की झारे। गगन अनाहत बाजे बाजे, गगन अनाहत बाजे बाजे। गाजे राग डरे यमपा श्री आरती ले जो, आरती ले जो। अज विनाशी पूर्ण नित्यानंद प्रकाशे, पूर्ण मुक्तानंद प्रकाश। चार प्रकार के अन्न गोपाला, सोहि तेरो भोग रसाला। चार प्रकार के अन्न गोपाला, सोहि तेरो भोग रसाला। लोक चतुर दिश मंदिर तेरो, लोक चतुर दिश। घट घट आसन स्वयं विकासी, आरती ले जो, आरती ले जो। अज विनाशी पूर्ण नित्य नंद प्रकाश। आरती ले जो। महावाक्य वेदन के जो है, सोते रोचरणामृत सो है। महावाक्य वेदन के जो है, सोते रोचरणामृत सो है। सद्गुरु पुजारी देव चरणामृत, सद्गुरु पुजारी देव चरणामृत। पिए नारे नरबंध बिना श्री आरती ले जो, आरती ले जो। अज विनाशी पूर्ण नित्यानंद प्रकाशे, पूर्ण मुक्तानंद प्रकाशे, आरती लीजो। ज्योत से ज्योत जगाओ, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगाओ। मेरा अंदर तिमिर मिटाओ, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगाओ। हे योगेश्वर हे ज्ञानेश्वर हे योगेश्वर हे सर्वेश्वर हे परमेश्वर हे सर्वेश्वर हे निज कृपा बरसाओ, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगाओ। मेरा अंदर तिमिर मिटाओ, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगाओ। हम बालक तेरे द्वार पे आए, हम बालक तेरे द्वार पे आए। मंगल दरस दिखाओ, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगाओ। मेरा अंदर तिमिर मिटाओ, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगाओ। शीश झुकाय करे तेरी आरती, शीश प्रेम सुधा बरसाओ, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगाओ। मेरा अंदर तिमिर मिटाओ, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगाओ। अंतर में युग युग से सोई, अंतर में युग चित शक्ति को जगाओ, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगाओ। मेरा अंदर तिमिर, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगाओ। सांची ज्योत जगे हृदय में, सांची ज्योत तो अमना जगाओ, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगाओ। मेरा अंदर तिमिर, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगाओ। जीवन मुक्तानंद अविनाशी, जीवन मुक्तानंद अविनाशी। चरणन शरण लगाओ, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगाओ। मेरा अंतर तिमिर मिटाओ, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगाओ। ज्योत से ज्योत जगाओ, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगाओ। मेरा अंदर तिमिर मिटाओ, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगाओ। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धु च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव दूर करो दुख दर्द सब दया करो भगवान मन मंदिर में उज्ज्वल हो तेरा निर्मल ज्ञान जिस घर में हो आरती चरण कमल चितला ताहरी बसा करे ज्योत अनंत जगा जहाँ भक्त कीर्तन करे बहे प्रेम दरिया ताहरे श्रवण करे सत्यलोक सिया सब कुछ दिया आपने भेंट करूं क्या न नमस्कार की भेंट जोड़ूं मैं दोनों हाथ नमस्कार के भेंट जोड़ूं मैं दोनों हाथ ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम् संसमिद्युवसे वृषन्नग्ने विश्वा निर्या इडस्पदे समिध्यसे सनो वसु न्यापर सङ्गच्छध्वं संवदध्वं शम्भो मनासि जानताम् देवा भागं यथा पूर्वे संज्ञानाना उपासते समानो मन्त्रः समिति समाने समानं मनः सचित्तमेषां समानं मन्त्रमभिमन्त्र एव समानेन भो हविषा जुहोमि समानि वाकुति समाना हृदयानि वा समानमस्तु भो मनो यथा वहसु सहासति हरिः ओम् ॐ द्यौः शान्तिरन्तरिक्षगुं शान्ति पृथिवी शान्तिरापः शान्तिरोषधयः शान्तिः वनस्पतयः शान्तिरेव शान्तिर्विश्वे देवाः शान्तिर्ब्रह्म शान्तिः सर्वज्ञ शान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः सामा शान्तिरेधि जतो यतः समीहसे ततो नो अभयं कुरु शन्नः कुरु प्रजाभ्यो भयन्नः पशुभ्यः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सुशान्तर्भवतु सर्वारिष्ट सर्वोपद्रव शान्तिरस्तु सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।
So this concludes our Sunday morning satsang. And just another reminder that came to me, which was that don't forget that all of the satsangs are live streamed and then they're available on YouTube. And why do I say that? Because something like today when Larry was speaking, and you might find I want to go back and do those bhavanas again, or I want to go back and see that quote on Paramahamsa Yogananda and Ramana Maharshi, or I want to go back and hear what he said about the inner landscape, or I want to go back and I want to hear any of those analogies, those metaphors, those invitations for us to ponder and reflect and go deeper. And as you talked all about the gross and the subtle and the subtler, and it's just nice to revisit those. So take the opportunity of having all of that available on YouTube so that we can continue to deepen our sadhana, not just have it be on the surface, but where we really imbibe it. And the other thing that Larry mentioned that triggered something was when he said the thing about how do we take all this with us. So we come, we do the practices, we do our japa, we do all of the sadhana, but how do we actually, and he kind of leaped out and said, how do you take it with you? And I was like, just as Baba would tell us, antarbhaya bahir drushti, which means that while we do all of our tasks, all of our activities, and we're moving through life and we're living our daily lives, to hold the awareness within, so that there's a platform of awareness that we sit on or that we are established on, which is why I always kind of do the reference to an established asana, an established seated posture, and we take that within ourselves and we remain seated there, we remain comfortable there at all times. So whatever comes to us in our daily lives, in our interactions, what we see on the news, all the different things that come to our awareness, we're able to remain steady, situated, unaffected, even-mindedness, consistent, and allow the mind to remain peaceful and calm at all times. That's the objective of yoga. So we paddle, paddle, paddle. We do everything. We row, row, row. We do all of our practices to bring us to that space. So what else do we have coming up in the month of August? So next week on Sunday, we'll be honoring and celebrating, commemorating Bhagavan Nityananda's Punyatiti, so when he left his body. So we'll have the chant and the kirtan of Om Namah Bhagavate Nityanandaya, so that'll be next Sunday. And then right away on the following Sunday, we have Baba Muktananda's Divya Diksha, and for which we always honor it very deeply and reflect upon it, because we always say that had Baba not received initiation from his guru, Bhagavan Nityananda, none of us would be here, because all of us are here because of Baba Muktananda's efforts and tours to the West that brought that spark, brought that knowledge of meditation and yoga to the West, And through many of us, we all had the opportunity to be in his company, to be in his presence, and then now continue that with Gurudev Swami Nityananda. So that'll be on the 15th and the 16th, so August 15th and 16th. And then that following Sunday, we have another satsang, and that one will be a video of Baba Muktananda. And on that Sunday, I think that's the 23rd, am I right? Or am I too far ahead? Anyway, the 23rd, on that 23rd, also I want to invite everyone near and far to come and join us in a birthday celebration that we'll be having for Larry Holmes, who just spoke. It'll be his 80th birthday. So we'll all be honoring all of the wonderful work that he's done for all of the for this path for many, many, many years. So we'll be, after our Sunday morning satsang, we'll be having a bit of a birthday celebration down at Namaste, a lunch and dessert and all of that. So please do join us for all of that. And then as we move into September, so just a reminder, well, first, August 31st, Gurudev will be in residence. He'll arrive that day on the 31st. And then the following weekend, we have September 5th, 6th, and 7th, which is Labor Day weekend. On that weekend, we will have lots of music. So we'll have lots of Indian classical performances on the Saturday. We'll have kirtan, a big kirtan event on the Sunday evening. We'll have another, it'll just be kirtan and music basically throughout the weekend. So you'll get all of those details in your email, and then you can choose whatever you want to come for, and you can come for all of it or just pieces of it. And then on the Monday, we'll be having our Yoga Nidra in the morning, so there'll be a Yoga Nidra in the morning, and then we'll be having our Labor Day picnic, so which is open and welcoming to everyone. So please make sure to join us on that weekend. We look forward to seeing everybody. And also the next intensive, the next global intensive is on September 12th, and that's also the day that the Understanding the Siddha Path course starts, our fall course. And the topic for that Gurudev has chosen is peaceful human beings. And again, where did that arise from? September 11th. So just going to September 12th and bringing that peace and harmony and reminding us all about just being peaceful warriors, right? Peaceful warriors on the path, peaceful warriors in our daily lives, peaceful warriors in our walking and remembering. So let me see if that covers it all. Yes, all good. So thank you all for your presence here today and every Sunday, and for all of the wonderful programs that we have throughout each year. And your presence is very much appreciated, and we look forward to everybody's continued footprints on this land. And everybody today is invited to go down, come for darshan, and then down to Namaste for lunch prasad. And today's lunch prasad is cucumber raita, which is from all the cucumbers in the garden. So enjoy that. And then there's some aloo rasa and papad pulao. So thank you all. Sadhgurunad Maharaj Ki Jai.